How we doing, Chiefs Kingdom? Today, I've gone back and watched the painful Week 2 tape of that game against the Philadelphia Eagles, the loss in the Super Bowl rematch. And today, I want to go through the players that stood out to me, the players that impressed me, and the players that depressed me, the players that were the reason why we unfortunately lost this game in a lot of ways. And another way to say it would be our winners and our losers. Like I said off the top, this is the Chiefs Report by Chat Sports, and my name is Jackson Durham. Thank you so much for tuning in to be with us today, wherever you are in the world. We really appreciate you spending your time with us on this fine Tuesday morning. It is, almost said Wednesday for a second there. Today, like I said, we're going to talk some winners and losers from this Week 2 game. And the first one, in my opinion, is Travis Kelce. A very unfortunate game from our key tight end. One of the best players on our offense typically has let us down in weeks 1 and 2. Box score wouldn't lead you to believe that, but this play right here absolutely would. This play was the biggest factor in the loss, the biggest nail in our coffin. And the reason why is because it is a 14-point flip. If you missed the game for whatever reason, he's standing in the end zone. He catches that ball. That is a touchdown. We are leading the game. Instead, deflects right into the hands of, I think it was James Bradbury, for an interception. That is Eagles ball. Eagles go right down the field, score a touchdown of their own, and make it a two-possession football game. Down by 10 at that point, ton of pressure on you to respond. And like I said in our initial takeaways video, that was the biggest nail in our coffin in that game. And Travis Kelce, someone we rely on to make that play, has to do it. And I don't think it's because he's getting older. Yes, he is aging, but to me, he feels unfocused right now. I don't know if it's all of the myriad things he has going on off of the football field. He's got a lot going on, dating the biggest pop star in the world, running an incredibly successful podcast, being in a number of photo shoots for GQ and others. It's a lot in the world of Travis Kelce, but football needs to be his number one thing. And when the stat sheet looks like this right now, it clearly isn't. It isn't what he's number one focused on when he's playing like this, in my opinion. 6 receptions for 108 is fantastic efficiency. He's actually having one of his best career seasons in terms of creating yards after the catch, but concentration drops have been an issue. It feels like the focus is elsewhere when that is your key problem. 2 drops for him in just last week's game alone. And they were both killers. One deflects off for an interception. The other would have been a big first down. The Chiefs will not win right now with him this uninvolved and this unfocused. He needs to be a key in the passing attack, and it's something we've talked about repeatedly, how injured this receiver room is. And if the receiver room continues to be this way, we still don't know 100% that we're going to get Xavier Worthy back in week 3. We need to be able to rely on Travis Kelce to be the guy he usually is, to be able to take over football games. It's something I've said before, but it feels like that element is missing from Kelce right now. The takeover element, the connection between him and Patrick Mahomes that used to be one of the sole reasons we won some football games. They just took over, and it didn't matter if other aspects of the offense, like the run game right now, which we'll get into in a minute, weren't working. As long as those two guys had the connection and had the success that they can have, we could win football games. But if the struggles continue, the Chiefs' struggles on the football field will continue as well as a team. We still don't know the timeline for Xavier Worthy. Like I said, we don't know that he'll be back next week, and we need Travis Kelce to step in and fill that gap in the meantime. We're going to get back into our losers in just 1 second. We've got 2 more to discuss. But first, I got to give a shout out to our lovely sponsors, PrizePicks. You and I make decisions every single day, but at PrizePicks, being right could get you paid. Don't miss out on any of the excitement this season and join me. I've already got my lineup built for this week. Thursday Night Football, a big element of it. We need a touchdown from Tua Tagovailoa and Devon Achane. The Dolphins can't keep playing poorly forever. We're riding with them this week. We need Daniel Jones to hit the more on his passing yards, going beyond that 215.5 mark there. And then we've got a freebie on the list as well, the max discount on Patrick Mahomes, just half a passing yard, and we all know our boy's going to get that against the New York Giants. tail me, fade me on this lineup, whatever you want to do it at PrizePicks, because PrizePicks puts their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. They offer Venmo, Apple Pay, MasterCard, and more for quick and easy deposits into your account this football season. Download the PrizePicks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you place your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, where it's good to be right. Back into our week 2 losers here with Juju Smith-Schuster. Very, very poor game from Juju in week 2. He was actually a big factor in week 1, played pretty well, but week 2 was disastrous. On 29 routes run, he saw 2 targets, failed to create separation all night long for Patrick Mahomes. And this has been a bit of a theme, and he did catch 1 pass for 5 total yards. So basically a complete non-factor, pretty much just doing cardio out there, running a bunch of routes. And again, like I said with Travis Kelce, when the receiver room is the way it is, we need more from you, sir. We brought you back this season to fill gaps, to be that receiver for when injuries popped up. And right now, the entirety of the load is falling on Hollywood Brown. When you look at the gap between Hollywood Brown and all other receivers on the football field for the Chiefs, it is pretty stark. Consider there's 5 other guys that are playing that make up that all other receivers stat. 19 targets. They've achieved the same number of targets because Hollywood is the only person consistently getting open other than Travis Kelce. Receptions, Hollywood is dominating them, 15-11. Yards, Hollywood has failed to be very efficient, but that's because most of what he's able to do is get open short, 129-181. The efficiency definitely leans the other way. But I think what you can see here is Hollywood Brown on his own is accounting for far too much of our offense. And it's a problem we've talked about time and time again. The injuries are killing us. Xavier Worthy not being out there, we have to replace him with Tyquan Thornton, who is just a far, far inferior version of Xavier Worthy that does not have the same level of chemistry with Patrick Mahomes that Xavier Worthy has. No disrespect to Tyquan Thornton. Jalen Royals not being out there is big as well. I do really love what we saw from him at Utah State. I feel like he's a great piece in this offense, one that is a natural fit to replace Rashee Rice. But now they're both gone. We don't have either of them out there, and it's just been a massive killer. The receivers we do have out there, Nico Remigio, Tyquan Thornton, Juju Smith-Schuster, especially in this one, have failed to create consistent separation. So I do have Juju as the loser. You can honestly throw in a bunch of the other receivers in that group as well. Juju just happened to get the most runtime of those guys and do absolutely nothing with that runtime. So very, very poor performance from Juju. But he's far from alone in that group because I'm going to throw the entire run game in as a loser for us. And before we get into discussing how miserable our run game is, I think you were all pretty aware, I want to flash back to some better times. We've had some fantastic running backs come through Kansas City. I want to hear from you guys on who your favorite is. Who is your favorite Chiefs running back of all time? Doesn't have to be the best. Doesn't have to be the best of all time. Just your favorite, the guy you maybe grew up watching, the one you got the most nostalgia for. For me, it's going to be Jamal Charles. Let me know in the comments. But we're going to get into our discussion of the Chiefs' run game. It was a failure on multiple levels. I know a lot of people have pointed the finger at Kareem Hunt. A lot of people have pointed the finger at the offensive line. A lot of people have pointed the finger at Isaiah Pacheco or even Matt Nagy. Every single one of them is to blame in their own ways. And to prove it to you, I've got a bunch of handy-dandy screenshots. So here we go. We're going to play a game right now called Spot the Eagles That Can Make a Play. On this one, I see 1, I see 2, I see 3, 4, and hell, DeJean actually beat his block in a second. So that's 5 guys that are in the box about 4 yards away from Kareem Hunt that could make a play. That's a disaster on multiple levels. Everyone on the offensive line lost on this. Look how many guys are turned around. Now let's move on to another play. So I'm going to slide over so you can see our gigantic gap here. This is a huge rushing lane. I think you could drive a forklift through it. Maybe you could land an airplane in the gap between Khalid Humphrey and Kingsley Suamataia. However, where do you think Isaiah Pacheco chooses to go? Straight into Kingsley. What are we doing? This is honestly, it reminded me of the butt fumble from Mark Sanchez, just watching somebody run straight into their offensive lineman's back. Let's run that right back. See that gap? See where Pacheco ends up. What happened? How did you miss it? It's right there for you. I'm laughing because it is absolutely ridiculous that we missed that hole. And when you play like that, when your offensive line has failures, when they do create gaps, you absolutely miss them. Your rushing statistics end up looking like this. 19 carries for 55 yards, less than 3 yards per carry. We did break one for 11, but all that to consider that actually makes your yards per carry worse when you knock that off of the list. It was probably more like 2.5 on your average actual carry. Absolute disaster. No chemistry between our running backs and our offensive linemen right now. They need to work in tandem. The gaps need to be created consistently. Our running backs need to know where the gaps are going to be and be able to hit them quickly if our running game is going to have any success. And I think there's two issues there. One, the offensive linemen are not working together. This unit is new in a lot of ways. We've got Josh Simmons coming in. I think they need a little bit more time to get there. But number two, Kareem Hunt just does not have it anymore. That guy is too slow to hit the hole. I think we need to see more Brashard Smith. So, I'm done talking losers. Let's talk some positives from this game. Finally, there were some good things out there. I know you wouldn't believe it from the way I've talked so far. But I did love what we saw from the young guys on defense. Limited action for most of them, so I kind of threw them all together. But 3 guys really stood out to me. Nohl Williams is one of them. How about that hit that he put on Smitty? That was fun. He absolutely rocked him. And Nohl got tested right away. When you see a young corner come in off the bench, it is common practice in football to just go right at that guy, and that is exactly what the Eagles did. Jalen Hurts targeted Nohl 3 times. Nohl said, "Look out, buddy, I'm right here." He broke up 2 of those passes, allowed 1 reception for just 1 yard. Really fantastic performance in replacement of Christian Fulton, who was really poor in this game. Did not like what we saw from Christian Fulton. Ashton Gillotte also got more action in this game. He was a backup to start, but he slid into the starting lineup, came out with that group in the second half, replaced Mike Dana, I believe. And he played, honestly, not that great. On 28 snaps, he did not record a pressure, but his performance in the preseason gives me more to believe in, and the fact that they're trusting him to start is something I want to see. I want to see more of our youth on the defensive line, and one player really stood out, Omarr Norman-Lott. How about that hit on Jalen Hurts? He absolutely rocked his world. First sack of his career. And that is exactly what we want to see. Pick him up, slam him down, send a message. That's how you play football. That is exactly the kind of message we want to send to Philadelphia. And last guy, moving away from the defense, but another winner and another young player, Josh Simmons. Probably the only positive part about our offensive line this week. He was solid in week 1. I thought he was much better in week 2. Did not allow a pressure. And consider he was facing a very, very good pass rush in the Eagles that blitzed repeatedly. He stood his ground, an 87.8 pass blocking grade. Run blocking grade, very poor. But again, that is a team effort. You cannot win in run blocking on your own. You're not going to create run gaps as a singular offensive lineman. That has to be a group effort. So I can't knock him too much for that. But his pass blocking, he was able to stand up on the edge to give Patrick Mahomes more time. Overall, very good and very confidence-inspiring performance from one of our young players. And just overall against the Eagles, the youth showed in a positive way. This is something you hear a lot, like your youth showed up, and it's usually a negative. This time it was a positive. Our young players filled their roles nicely, stepped up when they were asked to, especially Nohl Williams stepping up in replace of Christian Fulton. And that is absolutely awesome. Something to be positive about right now for Chiefs fans in an 0-2, bit of a panicky world right now. But we're going to lock in. We're going to keep you guys up to date on the Chiefs all season long. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. We will see you guys next time.